Hello and welcome to Co-Creating with Cosmic Holly. Today is your Astro Luna Tarot reading for the new moon in Scorpio this week. It's a really watery week. Before, as we've been leading up to the new moon, which is happening on November 20th at 1:46 a.m. Eastern, the sun formed a grand trine with Saturn in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer. There's also Black Moon Lilith in that mix, where there was where the sun conjuncted Black Moon Lilith, and Black Moon Lilith is also part of this trine. So it's a water trine, and you may have noticed a big swell of emotions. What I've been noticing is that it's almost like we're coming to a point where things feel like they're moving, and they've been moving for a while, and there's a point where we're coming to going, okay, things are moving, things are happening, and rather than seizing up, it feels like we're starting to go, I accept this. There's a lot swirling and churning below the surface. That swirling and churning can be doing a couple of things. One, it can be kicking up stuff that's really on the bottom. So there might be some things we're not seeing. Black Moon Lilith in the mix, her energy brings in those parts of ourselves that are exiled, and just like thriving kind of outside of the outside of suppression, really. So aspects of our culture that can be suppressive. This is where Black Moon Lilith says, I'm not having any of it. I am going to be myself. So there's a part of ourselves that is churning around and possibly getting kicked up, that has something to say. There's also a shadow aspect of ourselves when we're dealing with Lilith and with Scorpio. We have the unseen world. So some of it can be the shadow aspect, some of it can be just other parts of reality that we can't see, like other dimensional things. And then there are things we don't want to look at, like death, sort of the portal between death and birth. So all that stuff is in the mix. I got the sense this week that there also is this, if I keep holding this thing that is pulling at me, and whatever that thing is for you, I'm going to drown. So there's some aspect of the self that just needs to be released. So that churning can be cleansing. One other thing is, underneath the surface of it all, in the muck of things, there might be that, like, I'm wearing I put on a ring I haven't worn in a long time. There might be some kind of jewel that you have forgotten about, or like there are pearls hidden there. There are things that get lost that have value and meaning that might be resurfacing as well. Some part of some aspect of a dream that you may have forgotten about. And it may be very physical, like, oh, look at this. I found this and I'm wearing it now. It's kind of Saturnian, right? It's physical. So there's something very large happening in our emotional sphere that has been welling up for a long time. And there's some point where it's like, there's some aspect of ourselves that has just said, okay, feel it. Like, let the feelings happen, and then let them, and if you can let them move, then they can go. So moving into the new moon in Scorpio, it's like a triple conjunction, because we have the sun and the moon happening at 28 degrees Scorpio, and then we have Mercury Kazemi the sun, so beginning its own, it's a new Mercury. So we have a new moon and a new Mercury happening at 28 degrees Scorpio. So there is a lot of information that's coming in. The Mercury is the messenger of the gods. Mercury guides souls down into the depths. Mercury's the only god that can go between hell and heaven. So there is going to be some information that we receive during this time. This is really, I took some notes, and something, I've been really looking at Caroline Casey a lot. So I'm saying her name because I've been like studying her work, and she says that Mercury in Scorpio receives and sends information through water. So when you're, like you can, like, if you can get near water, if you can, be in the ocean, or be near a lake and experience water in nature, be near a river, that's amazing. Or, when you're taking a shower, that may be a time where you go, you can make the intention to wash away what you no longer need, and to listen for what it is you'd like to, what it is that the universe has to tell you. It's a great time to just allow in information. Caroline Casey says that Mercury is happiest when delivering a message of positive conspiracy. So Mercury is allied with Mars and Pluto. Mercury allies with Mars and Pluto when it's in Scorpio. So that's the underworld, and that is like the Pluto's the underworld, rules the underworld, and Mars is a warrior and also very passionate. So maybe some of the messages will be regarding something very deep, again, where I'm saying like stuff is getting shaken up with all of this water. like Mercury may kind of help you hear the message, because that's a lot of the underwater underworld energy of Pluto. And sometimes that message is gold, you know. Always the message is gold. Because how cool is it to receive messages from the cosmos, right? Or I mean, you can sit and ask, like, what is my passion? Because I think that's part of kind of what's been happening. I've been talking to a lot of people, myself included, where people are like, you know, I used to know what I wanted, now I don't know. Well, maybe we're going to start to get some clues as we start to hear from our shadow self, our rebellious self, and maybe even from Mercury. The other thing that is happening, and this is one of the things that's really making this new moon, besides Mercury and it being a new Mercury, is that Uranus is opposing the new moon at 29 degrees Taurus. So Uranus like shakes things up. People call like Uranus is the lightning. It has retrograded back into Taurus. It's in Taurus for the last time for a few more months, and then it's going to be in Gemini, and we're never going to see Uranus and Taurus again in our lifetimes, unless we're really young right now, because it takes 86 years to cycle through. So it's dipping back in, it's gathering more information. Taurus is an earth sign. It's a very sensuous sign. Scorpio's also a sensuous sign. When we think of Taurus, we think of like pleasure and, you know, grass and food and, you know, like all the, it's fifth chakra, it's oral delight. And Scorpio is, you know, pleasure and sex and like genital delight, right? So there is this electricity going on between Uranus and the sun, the moon, and Mercury. At the same time, Neptune is exactly sextile Uranus. The thing, and in Pisces, right? So Neptune is also retrograded back into Pisces for the last time in our lifetimes. And in a few months, it's going to be in Aries. So it's, you know, diving in one more time, finding out what it is that what is the dream for the collective, really. And also reminding us that we are all one. This is where our imagination comes, really is how we honor Neptune. We honor Neptune through our dreams. So maybe even some of our messages are going to come through dreams. Again, another celebration of water. You know, we may want to take some water before we go to sleep and, you know, ask, you know, like maybe, you know, put energy into the water and ask for information, ask for dreams for while we sleep, and then like drink the water. The other thing too is when you work with the new moon energy, if you want to set your intentions, you can set your intentions into water and then drink the water. That's a great way to work with water because water is so conductive. The other thing that struck me about Uranus and, Neptune sextiling is like, Neptune can be reminding Uranus what the dream was, what the dream is, and that can be a way to, like, we don't know where Uranus is going to strike, where lightning is going to strike, right? But we can put lightning rods out. So during this time, we can open ourselves to being aware that we don't really know what the next thing is, but maybe we can open ourselves to going, I'd like to discover more about this, and imagine that it is a lightning rod, right? And also, let's see, you can ask yourself like what it is that you want illuminated. But I really think all of the information is going to come in through symbols and through dreams. And then if you can put that into some kind of word or some kind of poetry or art or movement, with the intention of letting it become fully illuminated, and imagining that becoming the lightning rod. The other thing with all of this energy, okay, being water is a conductor. Water is like incredibly conductive. So with Uranus being opposite the sun, moon, and Mercury, and also being stirred up by Neptune with this sextile energy, oh my gosh, I think there's going to be a lot of activity. And some of it is going to be surprising. We can open ourselves to experiencing reality. It feels to me like reality is opening up to be experienced in another way. One of the things that Caroline Casey says is that, I wrote this down somewhere, but none of my writing is linear, but it's like a point can be like, if we're circling around something, like this is one of the things, like we're circling around a subject, we're circling around something that just doesn't seem to be moving, but we're just keep circling around it. It's like we can invite that strike, right? We can invite, if we feel like we're on the brink of something, but it just doesn't seem to be opening up, we can invite that lightning strike to hit that circle and burst it open and allow it to become a spiral. The other thing to note is that Uranus has been called the higher octave of Mercury. So this is what she wrote about this circle. Lightning that strikes, this is Caroline Casey, lightning that strikes the circle of habit and spins it into a spiral. Like, that's amazing. We can communicate with Mercury and ask that what it is we are learning can be a deeper truth, or some, like, allow it to be a full octave, and allow Uranus to communicate through Mercury. Now, Scorpio is also connected to deeper truth. Like I said, it's the unseen world. It's it is like around you know, what it is that we can consider taboo, or what culture sometimes consider taboo. But the thing with Scorpio is, it's like, you know, there's a desire that happens, and it's metaphysical and it's alchemical. So this is where we really start to get this idea, we get the urging to go deeper. And part of honoring the Scorpio energy is to honor what is invisible, to, you know, meditate on the invisible and the visible world. It's like you're meditating between it. Like we are between the visible and the invisible. There's an invisible force field around all things. And that force field around all things connects us all too. And so one of the things that I mentioned earlier too was that it's like death and birth. So it's both of those things, like slowing down to honor both death and birth. Like, I've been talking about slowing down a lot this last few years, but also taking the time to slow down so that I could experience being with my mother as she was dying. And then realizing that once I had done that, I couldn't just turn around and get back into the fast pace of my own life. And part of it is, and then finding myself sometimes frustrated about that, but also part of it was, well, I don't know if I necessarily want to get back to the fast pace that I used to experience. But this is a transition time. This is a time where we take the time to, you know, Scorpio season. And we're at the very end of Scorpio season, actually. So this is a time to really look back and go and think about what it was that you learned this month. And what does it mean for you to be like in the in-between? It's an in-between place, an in-between part of being alive, really. And the symbol for Scorpio, one of the symbols that I relate to is the phoenix, right? So the phoenix, you know, burns into ash and then rises again. And it's this beautiful bird, right? And it's like, I don't know if you know Scorpios, but a lot of Scorpios have this, I've known many who have this ability to sort of go, kind of like get up from the ground and just brush themselves off and be like, okay, all right, next. But it's like they just experience something really deep. So it's a very deep time. There was one more thing. Oh, right. So I wanted to say that if you, like I said, if you set intentions, or this is a time to set intentions. And again, like I think this month or this moon cycle is a good time to, maybe set intentions for, some of the really deep things in your life, some of the things that where you really feel like there's a mm, where your world is kind of invisible, um, and also for, the whole world too, like one or two of your intentions for, or all of them for the whole of humanity, or the whole of the world, or the whole of the spirit world. um yeah. Okay, so that be with all of that, let's see what the cards have to say. So um we have this triple conjunction, the sun, moon, and Mercury. What will the cards say about this week, and about what is to be revealed? Remember, when we're looking at this new moon time, it's like there's some revelation that's happening, but we don't really have clarity until we start to see the moon in the sky again, when the moon starts to wax. And then also there's that longer lunar gestation cycle of every 9 months. So we will get some more clarity from this time in November of 2025 with is that correct? No, that's not November. I'm looking at this, that's next week. That's when we'll start to see more. November 28th, 2025. We'll start to get more clarity. And further out in August of 2026, that's when we'll start to see even bigger clarity, or like maybe even more subtle clarity, but in the bigger view of things. Oops, all right, and one card jumped out. And I like to do at least 2 cards, so I'm gonna keep shuffling for one more. Yeah. So there's something where we're going to have a revelation, especially with Mercury retrograde, and in what it is we would like to let go. And Uranus also, part of that lightning strike is allowing us to keep what we need. It lets us really get to what it is that we need, because it can totally break the things that we don't need, if that makes sense. It can like break it up. And okay, interesting. And I didn't realize. Wow. All right, I think I will use the bottom of the deck too. The Queen of Cups up there. Okay, so the first card is the Four of Swords, which is it's time to rest and take a moment to slow down. If you recall, the Three of Swords, not in this deck, but in the other deck, in the Rider-Waite, you see the 3 swords cutting through a heart, where there's some kind of communication, or something that you realize that you're like, oh my God, I can't unsay this, I can't undo this. This is what it is, and it can be hard to deal with. Well, in here, it's like taking time to rest, get grounded, and let the information sort through your body so that you can embody it, so that you can work with it. Yeah, this is slowing down. This is a slow down and take time to meditate. It's just like that's exactly what this person's doing. Then we have the Four of Pentacles reversed. So I see this as sort of like there's assessing what it is that you actually have right now. You know, this is to me, this feels like the Uranus and Mercury. I mean Uranus in Taurus, where you know you're assessing like what is my value and how am I valued. This person is in this I'm sorry, this is the Five of Pentacles. Did I say, I said four, I mean five, right? So it's like I said, it's reversed. So again, it's like, what do I value and how am I valued? This person is like walking and they kind of have their eyes closed, like, and holding their hand out, like, can you help me? Will you help me? And they're not even noticing that there are these like coins on the, they're just like walking through, not noticing that there's coins on the ground, and then there's another coin on the in the sky, right? And in the background or is a castle. So there will be kind of a shakeup in your sense of value and how you're valued, and possibly waking up to what it is that you're that you have. You know, there's this, when you take the time to meditate, there's this understanding that you're whole, like no matter what. And that's you're starting to get there. There's going to be this opening of like, where is it that I am blocking energy to feeling worthy to receive, and also to give, to understand that you have worth. It feels like one of the lightning strikes could be around self-worth and what it is that you're allowing yourself to dream of. And then, you know, I wasn't looking at the deck, but when I put the deck down, it was upside down, so that I could see what was at the bottom of the deck. So I pulled off what was at the bottom of the deck, and we have the Queen of Vessels. And this is all that water energy. She is completely contained. She is completely contained in her own sense of worth, in her own feelings, in love, and she understands that she is, you know, pure emotion, that she is pure love, and that love that is contained within herself also is all around her. Like, she's swimming in it, she's soaking in it, right? She's also holding it in this container that is full and has a lid. So I feel like this card, that these three cards are saying, take the time to meditate, take the time to understand that you are whole and you are worthy of that. What you have to offer the world is, you know, what it is that you have to offer. That's also Black Moon Lilith. Like, you have gifts that might be outside of what our culture even understands, but it has incredible value. And so use them. And also allow yourself to also have gratitude, and to be open to receiving. Here, it's like you're going to get clear on your values. And it can feel very uncomfortable when there's an enlightenment on maybe a blind spot you've had because this person's eyes are closed, and that there is more support around you than you realize, coming from the seen and the unseen world, from the in-between places. And then the Queen of Vessels embodies this wholeness, this wholehearted ability to feel feelings, and yet, you know, like, be contained by them and contain them, and also to allow intuition to inform what she's doing next. So this could also be part of the part of your meditation is, you know, take the time to go very slowly and run whatever your ideas are through your body, whatever comes to you. And if you feel like you're like hunching up and trying to protect yourself, that is something that you can, you know, note and maybe go, why is that happening? But let me let that go. Let me let it go for now. And the other things that make you feel open, like your heart is opening, those are the things to focus on right now. Those are the things that have value right now. Those are the things that always have value. But right now, that's the energy that's happening. Okay, I think that's where I'm going to stop. I hope that you have an amazing week. I'd love to hear how things go for you. If you'd like to get a reading from me, go to hollytroy.com/tarot and you can book a reading with me. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.